Definitely, and pay attention to, these are already pre-labeled. This is the X line, okay? And this is the Y line, okay? So it says the x-intercept is at -5. So go to the X line and follow it until you find -5. And when you do, then you put a dot. Okay, that is the x-intercept. It's where it crosses the X line. Okay, the y-intercept, go to the Y line. Okay, this is our y-intercept. Go to the Y line and find what? 4. So right here's our Y line, and we're going to find 4. And you can put a dot. Okay, make sure your dots are nice and big. Don't tell me no little baby dot. Okay, and then between those two, you can make a line. I don't need it to be perfect, but it does. So here's what's not okay. It's not okay for you to do this. That is a line segment, and you'll learn more about that in geometry. That's not a line, okay? A line extends out, okay, and it has 2 arrows at the end. So make sure that your points are all the way across, and you have an arrow at each end. And boom, you're done. Okay, you graph the X and Y intercept. Can I scroll? Okay, so on this one, the x-intercept is at what? 3. Is the X line up and down or sideways? Sideways. Okay, so we're going to go to the X and put the 3. And the Y is at what? -3. Is it the up and down or sideways?
Up and down.
Up and down. Okay, I know that graphing is not some people's favorite thing. I am well aware before we even start graphing, some of you guys are going to suck at graphing, and that's okay. You should at least from today be able to take away that which one is the X line and which one is the Y line. Okay? Okay, 5. Our x-intercept is at what? 5. Which line is that? Well, yeah, I know, but it's this way or this way? Horizontal or vertical? It's the horizontal line. Okay, so it's at 5, and our y-intercept is at -4. How many dots should you have on all these graphs? 2. With a line with 2 arrows. This way. Okay, I'll sit on a little bit. Chase, your iPad's in the library, so you can go when you're done. You must have lost it somewhere. Okay, x-intercept is at -5. The y-intercept is at -2. Okay, look at my line. Is it going through those dots perfectly? That's okay. Okay, I don't expect you guys to draw a perfectly straight line. It's no big deal. Okay, make sure you have your dots and make sure you have the arrows on the end. Okay? Okay, the next section on here wants you to identify the X and Y intercept. So it's kind of the opposite of what we just did. So what we just did, they gave us the X and Y intercept and you drew the line. They have the line drawn for you and they want you to find the X and Y intercept. Okay, so you can go through here and just put X and the Y. Okay, what is the X intercept? -3. We can see it on here, okay? We go to the X line and wherever it crosses at, okay? And I know that's not perfectly on -3, okay? Pick the closest dot, okay? If you look super close, it's not actually like going through exactly at -3, but, okay? So our X is gonna be -3. What is the Y? 5. Okay, 11. We're going to say x and y. What is our x-intercept? Huh? -2. What is our y-intercept? -1. Okay, 13. What is our x-intercept? It says 0. Okay, we go to the x line and see where it crosses, and right here it crosses and it's at 0. What is the y-intercept? At 0 also. Okay, 15. What is our x-intercept? -5. What is the y? -3. Okay, before we go any further, I think it's a good thing to practice when we're not actually doing anything. So, put your pencils down and look up here. I'm not going to have you do it, but I'm just going to go through it with you. So there are two types of graphs. Okay, which, like this, okay, it is a positive graph. Okay, it's a positive line. And when the top part of the arrow is somewhere in this box, it is a negative line. So look at number 1. Is that negative or positive? Positive. Okay, what about 3? Positive. 5. Positive. 7. Negative. 9. Positive. Okay, 9's kind of tricky. So if you look at, you can see that it's not exactly in this box, okay, but it's going there. Okay, if you were to extend this line, it would eventually be up in that box. Okay, 11. It's negative. Okay, 13. Positive. 15. Negative. Okay. The more that we do graphing, you need to understand the difference between positive and negative lines. Okay, that is where most kids go wrong with graphing. Okay. The last section on here, they also want you to identify the x and y intercept from a table. Okay, and so we're going to look at this on a graph. So if I were to graph this, okay, and really you can tell the x and y intercepts by the zeros. So those are the only ones you want to be looking at. So like, see how this one has a 0 and this has a 0? One of those is the x-intercept and one of those is the y. Okay, so if I were to graph this, we go to where x is 1, -1, okay, and the y is at 0. Okay, so where the x is -1 and the y is at 0. Is that going to be an x-intercept or a y-intercept? Okay, yes, so this is going to be an x-intercept. Okay, and if you were to write it like on like you just did, it would be -1. Okay, if you were to graph this one, it says where x is 0, so that means we don't go any this way, and our y is -4. Okay, and so is that going to be an x-intercept or a y-intercept? It's going to be the y-intercept. And it's going to be at what value? -4. Okay, now, if you were to just look at the table and nothing else, okay, the x-intercept is really where the y is 0. Okay, so if you look at this one we know is our x-intercept. It's really where the y equals 0, then that's the x-intercept. So it's kind of like confusing if you like think about it. Okay, the y-intercept is really when the x is 0. Okay, Some of them you're not going to have them. There may not be 2 zeros on here. I don't know. Is that?
0, 0, you mean.
Okay, 19. We have 3 zeros on here. So that means we should have 3 intercepts total. Negative 3, 0. Is that going to be an x-intercept or a y-intercept? Okay, and so if you're not sure, I would go with the graphing method. So when x is negative 3 and y is 0, is that an x-intercept or a y? It's an x-intercept. 0, negative 6. That's going to be a y. Okay, same thing. If you were to graph it, my x is 0 and my y is negative 6. 0, 4. That's going to be a y. $21. I got 2 zeros on here. Negative 6, 0 and 0, negative 4. Negative 6, 0. Is that an x or a y intercept? Okay. 0, 4. Or negative 4, sorry. Is that an x or a y intercept? It's a y intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept is when x is 0. If x is 0, that is a y-intercept. If the y is 0, that's an x-intercept. Okay, so 23. We got 0, 0 and negative 4, 0. Negative 4, 0, is that an x or a y-intercept? Yes, it's an x-intercept. 0, 0. Okay, where do we plot 0, 0? In the middle. So it's actually an x and a y-intercept. Okay? So you're going to have a 0 here and a 0 here. Okay, 25. 25 is one of the ones where we only have 1 0, and that's okay. So we got x and y. Okay. 5, 0. Is that an x or a y-intercept? It's an x-intercept. Okay. Now, from this table, can you tell the y-intercept? Okay, I'm sure there is one. Okay, but we can't tell it from the table, so you're just going to leave that one like blank. Okay. Okay, 27. We got 1, 2, and 3. 0, 4. Is that an x or a y intercept? It's a y. Oh, negative 4, sorry. 0, negative 1. It's going to be a y. And then 2, 0. X. Okay, you guys have 14 problems to do. Get them done.